Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Directors Candidate Forum, where we will hope that you'll be better acquainted with the 4 fellow residents that are vying for 2 board seats that will be available right soon. My name is Don Stewart. I co-chair the election committee, and I will be your moderator this evening. Joe LaFleur, a fellow committee member, will be our timer tonight. He's got in his possession a little sign that basically says, the moderator's about to cut you off. So these answers are timed, and we will adhere to them, and we've talked to the candidates about that already. So, rest of the committee, rest of the election committee, would you please stand? And would the audience please recognize them with applause? They're very committed and put in a lot of work on the committee. We appreciate it. I would ask you to silence your cell phones if you haven't already done that. There are additional ballot questions that have to do with our governing documents. They will not be specifically addressed at this forum, but you can learn more about those at forums that will be held February 21st in this auditorium at 6:30 and February 22nd also here at 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you need more information about those, be sure to attend the forum. All of the candidates have already responded with written questions or written answers to 3 questions that we came up with as a committee, and those written answers have been published in the tipster. And we would encourage you to get a hold of a tipster and check those out. You can further get to know these candidates by viewing a digital interview with each one of them that was hosted by my co-chair, Al Johnson, and those interviews are posted on our YouTube channel. Now you can subscribe to that YouTube channel, and there's no cost to that, so please do that if you want to view those. And you should do that. A lot more things are going to be on there all the time. Round 1 and 2 questions will be randomly selected from a list that was developed by the committee after considerable input from the community. We electronically solicited questions from the residents to ask the candidates, and we got about 50 responses. We were very encouraged by that, and we had some very good questions, and some of those questions are being used tonight. Throughout this forum tonight, the committee members will be collecting written questions that you folks have to ask. If you didn't get a 3x5 card when you came in the door, that's what the question is to be written on. There are pencils back there also. If you did not get one and want to ask a question, just raise your hand. One of the committee members will bring one of those 3x5 cards to you now. Write those questions out anytime during the evening, and when you get them written out, just raise it up in the air, and one of the committee members will come and get it from you. And they will give them to these 3 ladies who are on the committee also, and they will be picking 4 of the best questions, and 1 each will be posed to our candidates in round 3. We're going to start tonight with opening remarks from each candidate lasting up to 2 minutes, and we're going to start that with Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Thanks to the election committee for organizing this forum, giving us a chance to meet with you and discuss some of the issues. And thanks to all of you for coming out to meet with us. As you know, my name is John Wilson. I've told you quite a bit about myself in the flyer that was published in the tipster. And if you missed that, there's more on the back table back there. And if you want to know any more about my background, I'd be glad to talk to you after this forum. For now, I think I'll just state that like many SCOV residents that I've talked with, I share a concern for the continued financial well-being of our community, including enhancing the profit loss performance of the restaurant and golf course operations. I also know there will be great interest in the upcoming renovations of this activity center, as well as the Desert Oasis. But these are not unique concerns, and I'm sure they're shared with other candidates up here, as well as more broadly our general community. These and other issues affecting maintenance and enhancement of our community will come before the board in the coming years. I hope that I can contribute effectively to making the decisions that guide the future of our community. I invite you to look over my experience, and if you think I'm up to the job, I'd appreciate your support. I thank you for your attendance at this event and for your consideration of my candidacy.
Mr. Thornton.
Thank you, Don. Good evening, everybody. It's good to see such a turnout for these forums. I know that you are the ones that want to be informed, as some of us here believe that the information we receive all the time is not necessarily up to date. So I congratulate you for coming out. Also, Thursday night TV, there's nothing on anyway, so that's why you're here. I've lived here for almost 8 years with my wife, Carol. We've enjoyed it, as I've stated in my resumes, and I think that it's important that we keep the financial strength right where it is, which is exemplary. And that's because we've hired a staff. We've got a comptroller that is on the ball with it. We have an idea of where we want to go in the future, and we're doing it in the right way. And so to everybody that works for a committee or works on a committee, works out here and watches the things that are working fine for us, congratulations, because we need to have that volunteerism all the time. It's important that we residents here and within the association stay and keep this place working. I don't have an agenda to bring to the board if I am elected. I just have the idea that I want to be able to help you residents, make sure that your answers are your questions are what we want to hear. And we'll discuss them, and then we'll take the action from the board if I am elected. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you for coming tonight. This is an important annual task that we have to elect the best candidates to serve on our board. And our board makes policy decisions that affect each and every one of us. It is important to me that we maintain our financial leadership, our financial strength, because it affects each and every one of our home values. In doing so, we must maintain the amenities that we have, change those amenities as new potential owners come to our community and look to buy into Sun City or Oro Valley. If we don't stay current, if we don't stay up to date, our property values will fall, and that affects each and every one of us. So again, I thank you for coming tonight, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Fisher.
Thank you. My name is Jan Fisher, and I want to welcome all of you for taking the time to come. Sometimes not everybody has the time. As a board member, our major job is to lead in maintaining and enhancing the quality of life in our community. As stated in the mission statement, when a homeowners association elects board members, they should be elected to represent all of the residents, not a select few. They should not come to the board with their own agenda or represent the interests of a few residents. Over the years, I've listened to our residents regarding their concerns on current issues within our community. I've tried to voice those concerns and provide feedback to other board members. As many of you know, I served on the board already from 2012 to 2015. I have been in Arizona since I was a kid and been in Tucson since 1970. I still work on an as-needed basis, and the contacts I've made at both the local political level, state and federal levels, I use to research whatever needs is coming to the board. With the continuing evolution of our community, it is incumbent upon board members to preserve and improve our amenities we already have, and to provide new amenities that may be required to attract other residents. The continuing evolution of our community is most important because we have younger residents coming in now, and the rest of us are aging, like it or not, and we may be moving on. So thank you.
That's not a phone call.
Okay, with the ice broken and the formalities out of the way, if we can go to first name basis, I'd appreciate it. You guys can call me Don, and we'll go to first names. All right, good deal. Round one will consist of 2-minute answers to selected questions with additional 1-minute responses by the other 3 candidates. And just to prove to you that they're randomly selected, they are hermetically sealed, not in a mayonnaise jar. We thought about doing Karnak, the little Karnak act, but so if you'll open that up and put those into this basket, I'd appreciate it. These are 4 questions that were selected by the committee members from questions that came from residents and from the committee members also. Now, if you'll draw one of them out. Thank you. Question number 1 is going to go to Jan. In your opinion, how is SCOV positioned to survive another great recession, both from an administrative standpoint and in the housing market?
The housing market in Tucson can be challenging, especially if we go through another 2008 to current, which is now on an upswing. I believe that we have board members and staff that have a vested interest in protecting our assets and maintaining a budget that is reasonable and yet continues to provide the necessities we require for our entertainment, our exercise, and whatever other activity might be available.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, any response to that?
I've served on the marketing committee for 3 years, and we meet annually with realtors and discuss with them what they're hearing from potential buyers. So we try to stay current with the interest of buyers and the concerns of buyers. In doing so, I think we're as well positioned as we can be to make potential buyers aware of our community and the advantages of our community. We're certainly the best positioned of our competitive communities, if I can say that, in terms of location and location and location. We offer some terrific amenities, and those are the strengths that we have that will help us weather another storm.
Thank you. Darwin?
I would second what Tim has said, but I would also add the caveat that I hope that there is nothing such as that financial downturn coming again. Our situation here in southern Arizona is very unique. We've got the sun, we've got the warmth, we've got a bunch of aging boomers that live in the north of us that want a place to live. And so I would challenge the marketing committee and the staff to make sure that our place is maintained well, that our community and common areas are attractive to everybody that even drives by on Rancho Vistoso. That is how you are going to maintain an influx of people that want to come here, buy a home, or come here and stay for a few months. Thank you.
Anything to add, John?
Well, I'm impressed with the quality of the facilities that we have now. I'm impressed with the forward thinking that's taken place and trying to keep things up. I mean, the renewal of the AFC, for example, is just one of the more recent examples. And there are a lot of other things going on, which I'm sure you know. And the other thing I would say is depression or recession or whatever you want to call it or not, there's going to be people getting ready to retire. And I think the financial situation is not going to cut back on that supply, if you will, of buyers. And so I think as long as we stay up to date and well-maintained, we'll be in the market.
Thank you. Tim, this question is going to come to you. How should SCOV deal with the lower number of new resident golfers, increased golf course maintenance costs, and increased competition from other courses in the area?
Well, that's an interesting question. I have been on Golf Advisory Committee for 3 years, and most recently have been chair of Golf Advisory for 2 years. The 2015 Golf Rate Committee, which I served on, we set out to identify competitors, the strengths of the competitors, the weaknesses of the competitors, and we tried to develop a program of product offerings that was responsive to the competition. And in that regard, if you look at our results, I mean, we set out and we said, okay, we need to, in a market that's not growing, how do you increase your business? And you increase your business by increasing your market share of that business. So we established rates and packages and programs to do that. And if you compare the most recent, this year's 6 months results to last year's 6 months results, our resident golf rounds have increased by 50%. If you look at our resident guest rounds, they've increased by over 30%. If you look at our Golf Now, which is the clearinghouse, if you will, for public bookings of golf rounds, they've declined by 22%. But yet the direct bookings, the bookings that are done through our pro shop and on our website, they've increased by over 30%. That's an indication of increasing not only our market share, but increasing customer loyalty, because now we have customers that are booking directly with us. So in all of those metrics, our golf operation is improving. It's not in a state of decline. It's a strategy that we developed a couple of years ago, and it seems to be yielding benefits.
Thank you, Tim. Darwin, anything to add to that?
This guy next to me here, he's got that golf stuff down. I'm not a golfer, so everybody out there, you have to sign up for those golf lessons right away. No, seriously, our golf course is up to date. It is beautiful. It is challenging, I've been told. I had the opportunity to follow a foursome on a scramble event a couple of Sundays ago, and I thought it was just a grand course. Again, I'm not a golfer. I think that what we need to do through the Golf Rate Committee, through the Golf Advisory Committees, and through the board and marketing is to add the beauty of this course and the challenge of this course in all of its advertising. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you, John.
A little earlier, I used the word forward thinking, and I think you've seen an example of that in what Tim was saying about how they're trying to just really change the philosophy of how this golf course has been managed, and I think it's clear that it's paying off. I would mention one more thing that Tim, I don't know whether Tim instigated it or not, but my understanding is they've started what they call a casual golf program, which is to get people who are, you know, not real serious golfers, but want to get out there a little bit. And it's a great way to introduce people to the game and also increase some play on the course.
Jan?
As a non-golfer, I took golf lessons and killed the wildlife, so I said, that's it, I'm done. My husband is an avid golfer. We moved out here as a direct result of the golf course, the views, and the excitement he gets playing the course. I believe Tim and his committee and previous committees have done a superb job in trying to get us above the average. And I believe we can continue that with the right management. We have a staff that deals with that well. And I think it's an important asset.
Very good. Darwin, this question comes to you. How do you envision the look of Sun City Oro Valley's facilities in the next 5 years? How do you envision the look of SCOV's facilities in the next 5 years?
Long-range planning committee members, anybody? The look of SCOV is grand right now, in my estimation. We are refreshing the look by continuously painting, continuously the landscaping, keeping it up. I don't see that there is any detriment or any direct building or causeway or road that is impacted by anything that is damaging to our community. Therefore, in 5 years, I'd say, let's just refresh and keep things refreshed. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Well, I like it the way it is. And I think it's well maintained, as Darwin just mentioned. I mean, maintenance, painting as needed, et cetera. And things like updating the facilities as are currently on the table for this activity center. Bathrooms out there are, what, 20, 30 years old, seems like, and they show it, I think. So things like that have to be done, but I'm with Darwin. I think it looks pretty good, and as long as we keep it looking good, I'm satisfied.
Jan?
The community is constantly evolving, and we have new residents come in with new ideas, like the pickleballers. We didn't have pickleball previously, and now it's a very popular sport. I believe our amenities are as up to date and are maintained, updated on a continuing basis by our staff. I think it is one of the biggest draws is the various clubs and the stained glass, the pottery, the sewers, and whatever else, the lapidary. This is what attracts people. And I happened to be at the Desert Oasis a week ago when a tour came in, and the first thing they said was, "What a beautiful community." And that made me proud.
Tim?
We have things in our community that other communities, Saddlebrook, the Dove Mountain communities don't have. We have the posse. We have the ambassador tours. Those things are essential to maintaining the look of our community, the vibrance of our community. But we also have, each year the marketing committee meets with realtors and talks about what are current buyers looking for. This year we learned that it's hikers. And so we need to focus advertising, awareness advertising of our community in hiking media, be it online or print media, as we endeavor to stay current with the new market, because it's the new market that is going to keep this community vibrant and growing.
Thank you. This will be the last question in round one, and there's only one left in the basket, so she didn't have to draw this one out for me. Be sure you get your questions written. Make sure they're written clearly. Print them if you can for the audience to submit over here or to submit to the candidates. We'll want those done, if you can, please, by the end of round three. This is just round one right now. John, looking toward the future, do you see any innovative technologies that might be cost-saving for SCOV? Any innovative technologies that might save money for the association?
Well, that's a toughie, because I don't pretend to be a techie, but I think, well, one case in point is our going to the electronic ballot. I don't know how much we save on mailing costs, but I would guess it's quite a bit. And I think enhancing communication through the website and the weekly emails, et cetera, in a sense, it saves money because we don't have to publish every board policy on paper and send it out. But I guess I don't have any brilliant ideas aside from just trying to make use of the gadgets that are becoming available.
Thank you, sir. Jan?
I'm not really a techie either. I still play with computers and work on them when necessary, and they're quite handy for emailing people. We have a group of individuals in here that have the computer club that are always talking about new and innovative ideas, but how can we, these three people and myself, sit here and say what's going to come down the pike in the future? I was listening to a news broadcast tonight when they're coming up with new ideas on the iPhone. I don't even own one yet. So it's hard to answer that question because not knowing what might be coming is hard to tell how it's going to impact us. But the younger generation that is moving in here are very tech savvy and they know everything.
Yeah, probably what we should do is get a bunch of first graders and ask this question. Tim, what do you think?
You know, technology is always advancing. We just, in the last month or two, implemented a new technology within our restaurant operation, a point-of-sale system that allows us to keep much better track of our cost of sales, our inventory, makes the ordering system easier, makes the information to the kitchen available. That type of new business technology will make that operation more efficient, more profitable, just a better operation. And we can do similar things with golf, our biggest retail business. There's software technology out there that will help us manage that business and make it more efficient, make it more customer friendly, and be able to track our markets and know what's important. Those are the kinds of technologies that I think we can employ.
And Darwin, finish up round one for us.
I think that we've just finished up with one of the biggest technology advantages that Sun City has, and that's the solar project. And a big congratulations to the Board of Past and the Properties Committee in seeing that to its fruition. We've got just the beginnings of savings into the bottom line of our electrical costs. So that was a forward thinking, to use John's words. That's the kind of thinking that we need from you, the residents, and the ideas at the forums to come forward with, well, why don't we do it this way? Why don't we think about this? Because in the 15 seconds I have left, there's a lot of places that we can use that solar, and of course one of them is to heat that big piece of water that's a little short distance away.
Thank you, sir. Round two is going to be one question each to the candidates. Same way. You'll have up to 3 minutes to answer these questions, and there will be no additional responses from the other candidates. So up to 3 minutes apiece. Darwin, you're going to start us off with round 2. And your question is, what do you think SCOV needs to do to meet future needs of its residents?
A good point. The board needs to listen, and they've done a good job in the past. But if there is someone out there that needs the help of an association, I would hope that they would come forward, that they would let the need be known, and that there would be some way through the foundations, through possibly another giving situation. We have an ability here, where there's a committee here that does help people with rides, with trips to the grocery store, but I don't think it's taken well advantage of, and we're getting a lot of other words from people that says, I have a neighbor who has a problem. We're all proud people, and there's nothing wrong with asking for a little bit of help. I think that the SCOV should look at the possibility and the potential to extending itself beyond the board and beyond that committee to helping those that sincerely and truly need our help. Thank you.
Thank you. John, your question is, should there be guidelines in the CCNRs prohibiting a homeowner from building or remodeling a house that does not conform to the appearance of existing community structures, such as roof line or materials? Want me to repeat it? It's kind of long.
You said, should there be?
Should there be guidelines in the CCNRs prohibiting a homeowner from building or remodeling a house that does not conform to the appearance of existing community structures, such as roof line or materials?
I thought there was. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at the documents today, and I remember distinctly that they said, for example, if you're going to make an addition to your house, the roof line can't be any higher than the existing roof line, and there were a whole bunch of other things in there. So
Then I guess the question would be, do you agree with them?
Oh, sure, sure. I think there's, in a community like this, my goodness, if we didn't have standards, and people know about those standards when they buy in here, and if we didn't have those standards, it could become chaotic. I don't think it would, frankly, because of other reasons, but yes, I would support maintaining what I believe to be existing rules.
Thank you. Jan, your question is to a self-admitted non-techie. Web communication is becoming more the norm. How can SCOV better utilize this technology?
I think they already are. They've updated our computers several times in the 29 years I've lived here. I know there's new technology coming down every day. My office is a good example of that. They keep updating my machine, and every time I go into the office after a day or two, it doesn't work. I don't know that we are not doing what we need to. I know it's incumbent upon the board, or not the board, but the residents to, if they have a computer, learn how to use it because of all the technology that is coming down that we're going to be utilizing for our voting, for our information, and for anything else that might come down.
Very good. If you haven't got your audience questions into a committee member yet, please do that very quickly. The last question in round 2 goes to Tim, and that is, considering the importance of wellness, what suggestions do you have to promote that state for people in our community? Wellness.
Well, I think our fitness center goes a long way towards doing that. A concern that kind of fits into the wellness category is what mechanisms do we have, what methods do we have when we don't see a neighbor for a few days? Do we check on them? Does the community have a good set of emergency contact numbers? If one of us falls ill, does the administration office have an ability to contact next of kin? How do we find out? How do we, check on those and communicate with their family in a way that looks after us? It's important. I mean, we're just simply getting older, and we're going to have those issues. So how do we do that? How do we look after those of us in the community? I think those are all valid questions, and quite frankly, today, I don't know any of the answers to those.
Thank you, Tim. We have the 4 selected audience questions that we're going to pose to the candidates now, one each. They will have up to 2 minutes to answer these questions, and there will be no additional responses from the other candidates. And you can see I got the cheaters out because some of you people write really little. You can see what I've been dealing with here. You can almost read that probably from the back row. Lou, can you read that? That's how big I had it printed, so I didn't have to use my cheaters, but now I got to. And we're starting with Tim. Since the last road resurfacing, there have been many problems of loose gravel. Numerous garbage trucks running around does not help this situation. What do you think could or should be done about that problem?
Well, in terms of the texture of the roads, they belong to Oro Valley, which is one of our community advantages. We don't own the roads, we don't have to maintain them. I wasn't aware that there was a loose material issue with the roads. Maybe the street sweepers don't go everywhere, but we've had street sweepers on Fawnbrook, I know, at least once this year. But if there is an issue, I think it's something that we need to bring up to Oro Valley and have them address.
Thank you. Darwin, your question is, we feel the Views Cafe should be viewed as a convenience to residents, not as a profit center, to keep prices affordable to all residents. What is your feeling on this?
The problem is that there's other residents here who look at the bottom line and see that we're subsidizing the restaurant to the tune of some $10,000 to $12,000 per month, and so they also are going to ask the board, why are we doing this? Why can't it become self-sustaining? So if we take these two parts, we've just done a wonderful refurbishment to the restaurant and into that lounge area. I don't think that there's another cafe around here that somebody is going to go to that can enjoy that place as much as any of our residents do. And it's with the windows and everything, the view of out of the restaurant is just terrific. So the people that come there, and there is more and more of us that are attending at the cafe and the restaurant, they are staying for a little bit longer. They're returning more often. That is what's going to get the place back. And as was alluded sometime in some of the other questions, the restaurant does have a growth factor problem right now, is that they can't supply enough food. They have to get product every day. With that in mind, when they have a refrigerator or a freezer that is big enough for a couple of days worth of product, that can reduce the price, whereas a daily delivery does not. So we have to look a little more closely at the buying of the product, and also what can we do to the inside to store it so that we can have some cheaper prices, so that we can maintain that quality of costs that are inherent with every restaurant.
Thank you, sir. John, your question is, with the continuing transition from landlines to mobile phone use, What changes would you support to improve our existing spotty cell phone coverage? What would you suggest to improve our spotty cell phone coverage?
I would suggest that you call your cell phone supplier. I don't see that SCOV can do anything about that, quite frankly. And if you're not satisfied with your coverage, switch.
Thank you. Jan, at least it's not a technology question.
Thank you.
How to improve service at Friday Happy Hour? What are your ideas on this?
You mean the wait staff service?
I'm
Is
assuming
that
that's what it
they're
means.
assuming?
I'm assuming service at the Views Cafe on Friday night happy hour. What are your ideas to improve service there?
Well, when I was a lot younger, I waited tables for a living to support myself and my son. So I know how hard those gals work. And I also know that the downtimes are expensive if you have too much staff. However, and the increase in the new minimum wage has also put a strain on how many employees do we really need, how many can we live without. I think it's a really difficult question, and my understanding is, having been involved with in a conversation, this very question. I believe that Alt is attempting to address things as quickly and efficiently as he can, but he needs a little more time, I think.
Thank you. Closing remarks from each candidate will be up to 2 minutes each, and we'll start with Jan.
What remarks?
Your closing remarks. You want to tell us goodbye?
Oh, all right.
Anything else you want to say?
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking the time and coming in today. You guys are scary, believe me. We all have a stake in what direction our community moves, what direction it has to move in to attract new residents. I heard the other day that the new average age of our residents in here is in the mid to late 60s. A lot of us aren't there anymore. But one of the motivating factors I think that we have to keep an eye on is we have volunteers, we have committee members and volunteers that are very dedicated to whatever needs to be done in our community, and I think it's a great community. And if elected again to represent the residents as an SCOV board member, I pledge to seek the input from the residents as much as possible, as well as other board members. I have a stake in this community. Having lived here for 29 years, I have a serious stake in making sure I preserve the value of my property and those of my neighbors and fellow residents. And I want to thank you all for taking the time tonight.
Tim.
Like Jan, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming tonight. It is important. You've shown an interest, you've shown a commitment to come and listen to us. You have an important choice to make. Selecting board members is your responsibility. It is important in that while we want diversity on the board, we have to have folks who are willing to work together and work through differences, listen to the community, and try and come up with best practices, best solutions to the issues that we'll face. And many of the issues we face, we don't know today. But they will present themselves as necessary, as time evolves. So again, I want to thank you for coming. I want to ask you for your vote, and I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Darwin?
As I stated in my video, if you haven't seen it, if elected to the board, I would like them to consider the 3 simple words of listen, discuss, then act. Our former boards have done a real good job of this, but you cannot lose sight of that words that come from the residents. If we listen to their words and we discuss it amongst ourselves, then the action will be easy to be made. And that's what I want to see if I am elected to the board. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you. And John?
Yeah, well, I don't know about you, but I had some fun tonight. I thought it was kind of interesting to hear the questions and to hear the responses from the various candidates. One of the questions we all got several times was, why are you running for the board? And what do you think you can do for the board? Sometimes that latter question really was, what are you going to do for me? And my response is that I'm just going to try and listen to the input as we get it. One of the things I've been very impressed with as I learn more about how SCOV operates is the extensive committee system that's here, with so many people involved, so many really talented people involved. And it's not just your board that's making those decisions. Well, they're making the decisions, but they're not making them out of the blue sky, thin air. They're getting some great input from talented people, and so I would like to listen to them, and I'm with Darwin. Listen to them, listen to you as best we can, and then try and make the decision that's best for the future of this community.
Thank you, John. That concludes this forum. Thank you for attending all. We will do this again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock right here in this auditorium. Fellow committee member Jack Everett will be the moderator tomorrow. Our candidates are going to be available right afterwards. Each candidate will be available afterwards for more questions if you'd like. And let's give them a round of applause for being willing to serve.
Don?
The end.